Well, guys, Friday night, we are out here dealing with some equipment malfunctioning, some equipment failure. Tanks are drained. The pumps in the big fish room were drained all the way down. The 4400 was about halfway empty, and it is about 39 degrees outside, and the temperature's dropping. So we're not on the live stream right now. I'm out here dealing with this problem, trying to get everything back running so these fish can have their pumps going and be nice and toasty and not have to worry about them getting sick or anything like that. I've been going through fixing. I'm on my third pump right now, but let's take a look. Okay, so at first you don't see nothing too wrong right now. The water's not too cold, but that can all change here in just a little bit of time. This has actually been filled back up some by another pump, but I am sitting here taking pumps apart. Actually just got a replacement pump, and I'm working in the dark out here. And we had 3 different pumps that went bad. It was popping the breaker over there, and they're all arc fault protected. So even if you have backup power, which can kick on, it still does not protect you against equipment failure. I had to go around and unplug one by one, figure out what was the culprit. It took me about an hour to find this pump, but we finally found it, and now I am replacing this out. So let me go ahead and get back to work here, and we'll come back and talk about everything. All right, guys, you know, this is kind of averted a little bit. The tanks are back to gray because they didn't have no filtration on. But you come over here and look at this pond. As you can see, this is really low. That pump inlet's not in water, neither is this one here. Everything is just super low, and that is because of equipment failure. Okay, so what exactly happened? You guys know this is all one big system. They all flow through each other. Well, we had obviously some pumps in there that pump up to here. Were not pumping water. When they shut off, it basically backflowed, and it siphoned water out of the 4400, which drained that pond, and this was, you know, offline. Well, I come to find out that when we had these lights on, something back there got wet, and it was tripping the breaker over in the panel over there. So no amount of backup power, nothing like that, would fix this because it's all, you know, GFCI or arc fault protected. And once you get something that's arcing, that breaker immediately cuts it off. So everything else had power, but it was this one circuit that happened to be pumping water up to the fish room over here and these tanks here. And while this happened, we had a mishap with the boiler room pump, so the pond was not getting heat. I had to go down there and fix that. That catastrophe was averted as well. And in lieu of this, you know, somehow one of these pumps got burned out. You guys see me replacing that one. We found the culprits. I got the power off back there. It turned out to be one of the lights. So, you know, you always want to check your equipment. You know, what will water splashing, fish splashing, something like that can always make your equipment go bad. And that is probably one of the biggest things that I have trouble with here is equipment failure. You know, we can plan for everything else, have backup power, have, you know, overflows, have, you know, stuff on reserve for when we need to replace it. But when something goes bad at 5 o'clock at night, you walk out there and you're like, holy crap, you're, you know, seconds away from about to go live for Stay Fishy Friday, and you have to make a choice. I have to fix these pumps and get these fish back online because that's what's right for them, and they don't deserve to go without heat. So we decided to put a stop to the Stay Fishy Friday this week and fix all of these problems out here. I've been working around the clock. I got off work and came straight here and been diving into all of these problems. And you know, as these things happen, you kind of, you know, think of different ways that you can come up and be like, how can we stop this from happening again? Well, if you have a pump pumping up you can pretty much basically pull the tip of the hose out, and you can stop it from draining back in, so it'll suck air. So you can pretty much stop the siphoning from this. Normally we don't have this problem, but I had just swapped and trying to get better water quality for everyone. Instead of pumping up to the sock table where it's going through the 9 socks, then to do the system, I'm like, why don't we just pump it in the 1,000 gallon, put, you know, clear water through the 1,000, it'll pump through here, and it'll overflow and still come to the same sock table that we were pumping it up to, thus improving the water quality on this entire tank for all of these guys. I thought it was a great idea. But, you know, we all make mistakes. I missed something. I put the hose in way too far, and that is why it was able to siphon back. So we have it being fed from the 4,000 and that pump from the monster pond. So I got to get up there and take that out to where if that ever shuts off, it's going to suck air before it drains this, thus draining that. We were able to drain this thing down to about there because it kept pumping over to this tank here and siphoning back to the monster pond. You guys can see we've got, you know, a little bit left that we're filling up, but the monster pond out here is so crazy full. Okay, so nobody knows your system better than you. For us here at the rescue, it's normally me that gets all the pumps going. You can see I am purging air out of that inlet line because there's probably about 20-30 feet of line that can get airlocked if this ever gets too low. And that's what happens right now, and it sucks to be able to get air out there. So here we go. I have this Bellagio tank. That's the pump that feeds these two. So what I have to do every time this thing happens is basically I've got a pump in the Bellagio tank and I'm back feeding the feed line, letting that air get out of there to where I can purge this line, or when I turn it back on, that pump can start again. Because if not, you'll be here for hours turning it on and off, and trying to purge the air out of there. And then of course there's siphons and different stuff like that you have to get rolling as well. Like when this 4400 gets too low, then these siphons over to the Stingray tank and the 750 all suck air and stop. So you have to re-siphon those. That's a big pain in the butt sometimes. What else? Oh, you got to make sure that the FXs start again. So it's literally, you have to go through and check everything when you have an equipment failure like this, and it is not fun because, you know, you always tend to forget something. Okay, after this whole 2-day fiasco, everything is fixed and back into working order. Now I can go ahead and talk about it and talk about what went wrong and what kind of fixes we can do for all of this. Tanks are starting to clear back up. Well, you know, if it was everything was done by me, I would know everything that's going on here, but we do have volunteers and other people that try and do stuff, and sometimes I don't catch everything. Well, this time the power outage was caused because of this tank down here. Kathy tried putting her axolotls in there and plugged in an air pump and set it on the floor. Well, I know this floor sometimes gets wet, so no power on the ground. You always tie it up for the power's out of the water. You know, and the only extension cords I have around are basically going to the lights. Other than that, my pumps are either plugged in directly to the outlet or have its own little power plug, and they're all tied up. Well, Kathy plugged in a air pump down here, left it sit under there. When it flooded, it basically kept tripping the breaker. Well, we had another thing happen. You guys seen I cleaned out this sock table. Well, because there was a lot more flow going through, it sucked up some roots from these pothos and plugged up the intake, so the water level rose in the settling chamber, which made the sock table start overflowing, which caused the flood. So I had to clean that, get more flow over to here. And basically that was a domino effect. The repetitive power going on and off while my dad and Jerry and Skylar were trying to find the problem. Well, that caused this pump to fry in the monster pond. So everything is a domino effect. And even if you have, you know, backup power, equipment malfunction and fit failure still happens. And that's one of my biggest issues here. Even with redundancy, you know, we've got 1, 2, 3 pumps that pump up to the fish room in here, to where if one goes out, it's still being fed water. And same thing, every tank, there's, you know, 3 FX5s on here plus the pass-through. So there's redundancy on every single tank. And even with redundancy and backup, stuff like this can still manage to happen, because you change one thing and it's a domino effect down the line. This one happened to be an air pump that somebody plugged in, and you know, that was since taken out of service, and that air pump should have been unplugged, or the air pump should have been on top of the tank. Your air pump should never be below. That's something that I know that other people might not know. But we at least got it fixed. Everything is back up and running as it should. So that was catastrophe averted there. But stuff like this happens when it's, you know, 30 degrees outside, and now you're fighting to keep your fish warm and make sure everything is in good working order. And sometimes it is highly chaotic. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and always remember, equipment failure can happen even to the best of us. So, you know, you just got to make sure you have, you know, backups and a plan in order if something like this were to happen. So we will catch you guys in the next video. As always, stay fishy, my friends.